You don't need the Chinese Communist Party monitoring our students and our people. If you have it on your phone, you should remove it because you don't want people in your business.
And that was Montana's governor echoing growing concerns over the Chinese-run social media app TikTok. Our next guest says the platform should be banned from all American college campuses. Joining us now is Republican Texas Congressman Brian Babin, member of the House Science, Space, and Technology Committee. Congressman, welcome and great to have you on the program today. One of the main arguments that you make for this legislation is essentially that China is trying to eat our lunch overall. But one of the ways they're doing it is using TikTok on college campuses where kids are voluntarily giving access to their information, and they spy, steal, and compete with us. Talk to us a little bit about why you want to see this reform.
Absolutely. And congratulations on the new show. I'm elated to be on with you folks. Appreciate you. And I know Governor Gianforte well. What he said, I served with him here in the House of Representatives. He is exactly right. TikTok is a Trojan horse. It is a way to get inside of our education system and many other, even in our homes. And my Terminate TikTok on Campus Act, or H.R. 231, will protect students and educators and their work by prohibiting this app from being on institution-owned and issued devices. And I'd like to quote Secretary of State Anthony Blinken. I don't agree with him on much, but when he said China is the only country with the intent to reshape the international order and increasingly the economic, diplomatic, military, and technological power to do it. So we absolutely have got to check TikTok. It is a way for them to spy and steal on us and replace us as the number one power on the face of this planet. We cannot allow that to happen.
Congressman, I don't use TikTok. I have no interest in using it. My main interest is keeping my kids off it most of the time. So, if it disappeared tomorrow, I wouldn't care. But I find it interesting that we're limiting this right now to college campuses. It seems to me actually the bigger threat is just the general availability of it. What about an outright ban on TikTok in the United States? Is that a possibility? Could you move in that direction? What hurdles would you see to do that?
I think you're going to see some pushback. That's what you're going to see on that. We actually discussed that in coming up with the bill as it is. I would certainly love to see it banned. I mean, I have a lot of grandchildren. And, I get things from them. And guess what? A lot of it is TikTok. I see that coming from even my colleagues sending around, videos off of TikTok. I agree with you. Absolutely, Brian. I think that TikTok is a threat. It's a dire threat to the United States national security, and we should. But this is a realistic bill that I think we can get through, and I believe that we can hopefully wind up getting some bipartisan support for it as well.
Congressman, I'm curious what you think it'll take to get that bipartisan support. You mentioned a lot about even CFIUS, which we're underwaiting a review. Do we need the results of that before we can sort of get more high-ranking Democrats on board with what could be maybe an outright ban?
Well, that's a great question. And let me just say this, because I think that CFIUS has really not lived up to their mandate. I think they have actually allowed the Chinese to buy properties in the United States, the real estate, et cetera, et cetera. CFIUS is supposed to be checking these transactions out, and sometimes they say, well, we don't have any jurisdiction over this particular transaction. And I think CFIUS need to stand up, belly up to the bar, and really start protecting us from these foreign adversaries like China. There is no greater adversary to our national security and prosperity and our freedoms and liberties than communist China. So I'm hoping that CFIUS certainly will be able to come up with a ruling on this thing, but I don't think we need to wait on them. We've seen them, as I said, we've seen them before not make a ruling on it.
Congressman Babin, let me ask you this. Another Chinese company has been recently under fire, and the Biden administration is considering cutting off telecommunications giant Huawei from U.S. suppliers. What's your take on that? Is this a step in the right direction? It's certainly the first sign that we've seen from this administration that it's taking China a little bit more seriously.
Thank the Lord. I'm glad to see this happening. And yes, I agree with that 100%. For decades, we have tried to include China into the family of nations in hopes that they would turn out to be more democratic, more freedom and liberty extended to their citizenry. And instead, we've seen the exact opposite happen. And so, listen, I represent part of Houston. We closed the Chinese consulate down there 2 or 3 years ago at the end of President Trump's term. And it was because there was a rat's nest of espionage going on in places like the Texas Medical Center, where I went to school, and also out at Johnson Space Center, which I represent. And we cannot allow this to happen. They take advantage, they steal, they pay to hire people and compromise people. They use families back home with their own citizens here to strong arm it, to get things to happen, and then shower money on people to do the same thing. So yes, I think this is a good move on their part.